City's COVID cases rise again as infection clusters continue to expand. Part of Victoria Park will be closed to the public on June 4th. Carrie Lam opens new tourist attraction near the mainland border. Hello and happy Friday. Hong Kong reported 499 new COVID infections today, 10 more than yesterday. And there are 49 more imported cases.
And tonight, health authorities say they are now watching a new outbreak cluster from another nightclub in Central. Christy Khan reports.
Health officials today reported one more bar in Central is having a COVID outbreak cluster. The bar is Shuffle in Ho Lee Commercial Building, which recorded 14 COVID-positive cases involving 11 women and 3 men. One of them had also been to the Central bar earlier. The LINQ bar on Pottinger Street reported 3 more infections, bringing the total number of cases to 21. Health authorities said no new infection was reported from the Iron Ferries and Central bar clusters today. But some patrons who have visited the bars have not yet taken the mandatory COVID tests. The authorities do not rule out that they will take legal actions later. Meanwhile, 12 more COVID infections have been reported from schools. 2 cases from Hong Kong Christian Services Times Nursery School are suspected to carry the Omicron subvariant.
There is an afternoon nap time between 12:45 and 2:45. They didn't wear any face masks at that time. The 2 kids were sleeping side by side, and both of them tested positive.
The authorities added the 2 kids and their family members have been sent to isolation facilities, while others taking the afternoon nap in the same room have to undergo home quarantine. As the daily infection tally in Hong Kong has been hovering around 500 cases for 3 consecutive days, health officials said more time is needed to assess if there is a rebound.
The COVID situation now, there may be a slight rise in the daily caseload, but whether it's a rebound, we'll still have to monitor the situation before we can tell.
The authorities also said some self-reported positive rapid test results verified by authorities on Tuesday were found to be falsely declared. They will refer the cases to the police for follow-up actions accordingly. Christy Khan, TVB News.
More than 200 customers at a basement bar in Sham Shui Po have been fined for violating the anti-COVID regulations. At around 4 this morning, police raided the bar, which was still opening, obviously, after 2 a.m. Police arrested 2 men, including a 43-year-old bar operator and a 48-year-old man who is on a wanted list. Officers also issued fines to about 250 customers between the ages of 20 and 65 for health violations and other breaches.
Police have arrested a 59-year-old man who posted messages online inciting others to murder police officers on June 4th. And the government is closing down parts of Victoria Park from 11 p.m. today to 12:30 a.m. on June 5th. The closed area includes football pitches, basketball courts, Central Lawn, as well as some entrances along Causeway Road and the footbridge linking the Hong Kong Central Library. The temporary closure was triggered by the police noticing that some people are inciting others to participate in unauthorized assemblies in the park.
A 6-month trial project has been launched to allow local tour groups to visit and use Tak Pier, which is currently closed to the public.
The authorities say the trial project is related to the Northern Metropolis Development Strategy. Caleb Leung has details.
On the first day of the opening of the Tak Pier, Chief Executive Carrie Lam, as well as other officials, visited stalls set up by nearby residents. Lam said the opening of Tak in phases is part of the plan to develop a northern metropolis, which she announced in her last policy address.
有為嘅精神。
She expressed her gratitude to Secretary for Security Chris Tang for his efforts, saying he handled the issue with considerations beyond just the security angle, which shows a can-do spirit. As for when will the authorities open other parts of Shuttlecock to the public, the authorities said they will have to review this trial project after 6 months. But don't expect the government will open up Chongying Street, a street in Shuttlecock along the Hong Kong-Shenzhen border. Undersecretary for Security Sonny Au said there is no plan to open up Chongying Street as the location has no fences or immigration facilities at the border. This means people can easily enter another jurisdiction, causing problems when it comes to law enforcement. The Travel Industry Council has arranged 26 travel agencies to organize local group tours, and 156 tours will be organized in the 3 months ahead. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
Well, with the pier now opened up to local tour groups, visitors now have a chance to see natural scenery and tourist attractions nearby. On Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays, those who join local tour groups can take a ferry at the pier to visit neighboring places like Lai Chi Wo and Ka'o. An embosser has been installed in the pier for visitors to create colorless raised impressions as a souvenir. There are also 16 stalls set up near the pier for residents to sell some of their special handicrafts.
A transitional housing project at Chengshan Estate in Chunwan has been completed, offering 145 units in total. Some households have already moved the units from subdivided flats. This transitional housing facility was formerly a vacant 7-story school. The classrooms have been converted into 145 flats. Each unit is equipped with a private toilet and a cooking area. People who have been on the public housing waiting list for more than 3 years can apply for it. The operating organization said this transitional housing project took around 6 months to complete, with a slight delay due to the pandemic.
Well, today is the Dragon Boat Festival, a traditional Chinese festival known for its sticky rice dumplings and thrilling dragon boat events.
Because of COVID-19, Hong Kong's dragon boat races were suspended for the last 2 years. But a dragon boat event was held in Stanley today, to the delight of both participants and spectators. Timothy Lee has more.
Under the blazing heat, scores of dragon boat paddlers could be seen making their final preparations before the event at Stanley Main Beach. As the competitors break for the finish line, screams from the onlooking crowds only grew louder. But as the dust settles, what do the paddlers think about their performance this year? This man said he is satisfied and that his team tried their best. This man said he was prepared for months, and he was just happy to participate in this year's Dragon Boat event. A total of 52 teams of paddlers took part in the event today. Organizers of the event said the long-awaited Stanley Dragon Boat Championships will be held this October. As the epidemic remains a threat, organizers require attendees of the event to scan their Leave Home Safe apps and meet the requirements of the vaccine pass. Meanwhile, in Taiyo, there is also a dragon boat race event. Participants must have already received 3 jabs and provide negative results on their rapid antigen test kits. After scanning their Leave Home Safe apps, they're required to wear identification wristbands. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Over in Guangzhou, many residents flocked to Chebai Village for some dragon boat events. After dragon boat races have been canceled in the village for the past 3 years, those who saw the dragon boats today could still feel the holiday atmosphere. Meanwhile, this boat builder is concerned with finding a successor to continue his work. His shipyard suffered as orders have been reduced drastically as a result of the epidemic. While noting the difficulty of crafting a dragon boat, as all parts must be handmade, he wishes more people would take up the skill, as it is an important part of Guangzhou's culture. Russian forces advanced deep into the ruined eastern factory city of Severodonetsk, but Ukrainian troops are still holding out.
The war that Western countries say Moscow planned to win in a matter of hours has now entered its 100th day. As fighting intensifies in the Luhansk region, military vehicles and helicopters thunder past the settlement of Popasna. Most of the area is now in Russian-held territory, but much of it is in ruins. Local residents have been collecting humanitarian aid provided by Russia's ruling party. The past weeks have seen Russia pour its forces into the Battle of Severodonetsk, a small factory city in the east. Russia must capture it to achieve its stated aim of holding all of Luhansk province. Both sides have been taking punishing losses there in street-by-street battles that could set a trajectory for a long war of attrition to come. Ukraine's defense minister says the Kremlin seems to be trying to move the war into a protracted phase by building layered defenses in occupied regions in the south of the country. Kyiv is hoping the Russian advance will leave Moscow's forces so stretched that Ukraine will be able to launch counteroffensives and recapture territory. Ukraine has been bolstered in recent days by a promise of medium-range missiles from the United States that would let it strike deep behind Russian lines and neutralize Moscow's firepower advantage. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told Luxembourg's parliament via video link on Thursday that Russian forces now occupy about a fifth of Ukrainian territory, with battle lines stretching more than 1,000 kilometers. Zelensky said his government is expecting more modern weapons supplies soon from other partners. But a Kremlin spokesman said pumping weapons into Ukraine does not change all the parameters of war, adding it will bring more suffering to Ukraine. More than 3 months into its assault on its neighbor, the Kremlin said today that certain results have been achieved from what it calls a special operation, adding work will continue until all goals are achieved.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has held talks at the White House with U.S. President Joe Biden and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan.
Stoltenberg sought to underscore the alliance's appreciation of Turkey as an important ally ahead of a meeting of senior officials from Sweden, Finland, and Turkey in Brussels next week. They will be discussing Turkey's opposition to the Nordic countries joining the defense alliance.
When an ally, Turkey, raises concerns, then we have to do what we always do in NATO, and that is to sit down, address those concerns, and then find a united way forward. And that's exactly what we are doing now.
Stoltenberg also met with U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin at the Pentagon. They both reiterated efforts to improve burden sharing, the way the 30-member alliance contributes cash, military hardware, and troops to operations run by the world's biggest security organization. Austin said it is important to increase the amount of common funding so NATO has the resources it needs to accomplish its tasks. American children under 5 may be able to get their first COVID-19 vaccination doses as soon as June 21st. That if federal regulators authorize shots for that age group. According to the White House, COVID-19 coordinator Ashish Jha, advisors will meet in the middle of the month to evaluate the Pfizer and Moderna shots for younger kids. Jha said states can begin placing orders for pediatric vaccines from today, and the initial supply is 10 million doses. As of Thursday, the U.S. had recorded more than 84.5 million confirmed COVID cases and more than 1 million deaths. Britain celebrates the second day of Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee today.
But there are concerns about her health following reports that she will miss out on a Thanksgiving service in her honor after having appeared at the balcony of Buckingham Palace yesterday. This report from NBC News.
Tonight, after a magical day, 70 years in the making, news that will worry many. The palace says the Queen will skip a Jubilee event tomorrow because of discomfort she felt at today's ceremony. She was too frail to go down to inspect the troops, so they came to her, saluting her on the Buckingham Palace balcony. An historic day for the Queen, but also the dawning of a new era. Charles, William and Anne riding horses just as the Queen did in decades past. The Prince of Wales standing in for his mother for trooping the colour with 1,500 soldiers, 250 horses and 400 musicians. Harry and Meghan looking on, though they were not included in the big moment to come. And there they are, Kate and Camilla and William and Kate's children cheered by the crowds, heading back to Buckingham Palace to pay their respects to the Queen. Back on the balcony, the Queen smiling, and a perfect 70 in the air from the Royal Air Force, surrounded by 4 generations of royals. William and Kate's son, Prince Louis's reaction to the flyover, stealing the show. His mother and great-grandmother, amazingly relaxed. Did you see her?
We saw the Queen in the distance. It was all amazing.
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it really was great.
Late today, the Queen lighting a beacon. A day when the past was acknowledged with pride, the future faced with purpose, and still overseeing it all, monarch and matriarch, now in her 8th decade, Queen Elizabeth II.
That's the news. Have a great weekend ahead.
Good night.